donde no había nada antes. Así que han podido diseñar aquí la ciudad con esas nuevas ideas. Calles anchas, largas, rectas, bordeadas de árboles, que en ese momento piensan que es importante que la naturaleza esté presente en la ciudad, y pueden ver que todos los edificios son iguales. Y otra característica, aquí no hay tiendas, es un barrio puramente residencial. Los que viven aquí son los miembros más poderosos y más ricos de la sociedad de aquel tiempo, la burguesía. Ellos trabajan, compran, se divierten en el barrio nuevo de la ópera, pero quieren vivir en un lugar exclusivo que tenga las últimas comodidades al interior de esos edificios recién construidos. Y entonces se instalan aquí, y es el barrio de la burguesía, considerado como el más elegante de París. So you see, you have here the western side of the city, where high-rises there, which are the high-rises of La Défense. And this is the business center I was telling you about. Donde hay esos rascacielos, es justamente donde hay esas oficinas, ese centro de trabajo principal que hay aquí en París desde los años 60. Entonces van a ver que alrededor de la plaza todos los edificios son iguales, son de Triomphe, fueron hechos al final de la construcción del arco. Desde que, as soon as they finished the layout of the construction of the Arch of Triumph, they actually built all these buildings forming like a circle all around, designing a very nice circular square. And there you have in Triomphe, the architecture did those buildings. Now, if you have a look on the right-hand side, miren bien a su derecha ahora, porque van a ver la continuación de los campos elíseos, y ya ven el arco de la defensa con el barrio de la Défense. You see the arch over there, made out of marble, the arch of la Défense. Primero, y de generales de su ejército. También debajo hay la tumba del soldado desconocido de la Primera Guerra Mundial during the First World War. And today you have this big flag, because tomorrow is a special day, it's Labor Day, which is world through. You have this 1st of May as Labor Day, and special occasion they put this big silk flag under the Arch of Triumph for the occasion. Entonces aquí tenemos este arco de triunfo que fue empezado por Napoleón I, dedicado a la gloria de los soldados de su ejército. No tuvo tiempo de terminarlo, fue terminado el arco 30 años más tarde. So this is why it is called like this, Place de l'Étoile Star Square. Now it's dedicated to the soldiers of the army of Napoleon. You have also there a lot of names in the medallions, which are victories of Napoleon. Ya ven como hay la cola para entrar ahí en Louis Vuitton. There's always a long line that you have to do. Look at that, look at the line in Louis Vuitton here on the left hand side, and it's quite incredible actually. Every day you have a line here, you have to wait. Now in front of you you have the Arch of Triumph, which was started by Napoleon I and dedicated to the glory of the soldiers of his army. 50 meters high, right on top you have a terrace from which you can see the beautiful layout of the Star Square. It's called like this, Place de l'Étoile, because you have 12 tree-lined avenues halfway through what Louis XIV wanted to do, but they're still going on prolonging this avenue even nowadays. We are going narrow streets, and which was done before. Right here, this is where you had the limit of the city in the 17th century until Louis XVI, until the end of the 18th century when they enlarged Paris. And then, of course, you had nothing there before. So everything we have from here on is also big, wide, and large, and open, in its a very, very different layout from what we're going to see later on in the old part of the city. So you had nothing at all until the 18th century in this area. But we are now right on the Champs-Élysées, driving along the Champs-Élysées. Champs-Élysées is the main avenue of the city. It was started in the 17th century by Louis XIV. Louis XIV had this incredible idea of, the idea was to link two royal palaces. The Palace of the Louvre, which is behind us, in 1800, along the Garden of the Tuileries, you see all the buildings are the same, from the beginning of the Louvre until Place de la Concorde. It's all a series of blocks which are all the same, with arcades, with nice shops and restaurants and hotels underneath and apartments on top. And it's facing the Garden of the Tuileries. Now, the Garden of the Tuileries was actually designed by André Le Nôtre. André Le Nôtre is the landscape designer of Louis XIV. He's the one who laid out the Park of Versailles, and he's the one who invented those French-style gardens. Now, we are arriving at the Place de la Concorde.
Yan ay Eiffel Tower.
Place de la Concorde is the largest square in the city. It has the obelisk right in the center. You see, it's a present from Mehemet Ali to the King of France. Entonces aquí Plaza de la Concordia, que es la mayor plaza de París en tamaño, 7 hectáreas, y tiene como adorno principal el obelisco de Luxor, aquí a la izquierda, que es un regalo de Mehemet Ali al rey de Francia, y llegó aquí en 1836. Entonces aquí esta plaza queda en el centro geográfico de París. Todo lo que tenemos a la izquierda es la parte histórica, diseñado por André Le Nôtre. André Le Nôtre es el que hizo el commissioned all the streets around here. They bear the name of victories of the emperor. On the left-hand side, this is the Hotel Meurice. The Hotel Meurice was the headquarters of the German government during the Second World War, and it's called the Hotel Meurice. It's one of the best hotels of the city nowadays. At Vendôme 2 Rue de Rivoli. It was opened by Napoleon I in 1800, and you see it's very similar. It's a bit different but similar. It's sort of in harmony with the architecture of el balcón. Ven que hay un sol dorado que es el emblema del Rey Sol, ¿ya ven? Y aquí tenemos joyerías y tenemos a la derecha el Hotel Ritz, el Ministerio de la Justicia y también joyerías. Entonces, aquí ya ven como es a la vez bastante sencillo, es típico de la época de Luis XIV, muy sencillo pero muy elegante y muy imponente, que es todo lo que hace Luis XIV, es así realmente. Entonces, en el centro la columna de Austerlitz, que conmemora la victoria de Napoleón I, que ganó en Austerlitz en 1805. Entonces, esta plaza es de 1700. Cuando pasemos el semáforo, allí estaremos en 1800. Es Napoleón I que ha abierto la calle a continuación para llegar hasta la calle de Rivoli. Y como es Napoleón I que hizo las calles por aquí, llevan nombres de victorias de Napoleón. So here we are in the of Louis XIV. So we'll see that it's a classical style, as I said. It's in the same time very simple, but very elegant and very imposing, really. The speciality there is also the jewelers, are also the jewelers, and you will see also the Hotel Ritz and the Ministry of Justice on the right-hand side. In the center, the column of Austerlitz commemorates the victory of Napoleon I. There are avenues all around in order to avoid quite a traffic jam and in order to be safe. Now, here on the right-hand side, you have the Café de la Paix, which has been decorated by Charles Garnier, opened in the same time, 1875. You see here on the right-hand side is the most elegant café in the area. Aquí a la derecha tiene el Café de la Paix, que es el más famoso del barrio de la Ópera. Es el café que fue decorado por Charles Garnier, también el arquitecto de la Ópera, y que ha sido inaugurado en el mismo tiempo, 1875. La Plaza de la Ópera, y aquí entramos en la Rue de la Paix, y esta calle está dedicada a la alta joyería. Miren bien los escaparates, los nombres que van a ver a lo largo de toda la calle, porque son nombres muy famosos del mundo de las joyas. So you see here, this street is dedicated to the best jewelers in the world that are represented in this area, in this street here, Rue de la Paix, and again in Place Vendôme, where we are going to arrive in a minute. And you will recognize those the very famous names and avoid any accident, any assault. Entonces aquí tiene a la izquierda lo que es la entrada del emperador, una entrada que fue realizada para él en forma de herradura para que pueda entrar él dentro de su carroza y así evitar cualquier asalto, porque justamente había sufrido así un asalto yendo a ver un espectáculo en una calle más estrecha y entonces atascaron su carroza, intentaron de made for the emperor with a horseshoe-shaped ramp in order to enter the opera. We went under restoration, so the facade is totally hidden by scaffoldings. When they're going to build these apartment buildings that you have here around you, but mainly on the left-hand side, because on the right-hand side is where you have the offices. This is the business center from the 19th century until 1960 about. Entonces aquí estamos en el límite entre Right, so here we are at the limit between the buildings that you have on the left-hand side, which are apartment buildings, the residential area, which was built at the very end of the 19th century, because until that time you had still farms here and you had agriculture. And in fact, the new nobility, I'm talking about the nobility of the time of Napoleon I, they're the one who are going to buy these plots of land and have some houses built and little mansions, little. Crecía la ciudad también y el límite oficial de París hoy en día es el periférico que terminaron en 1973, que tiene 36 kilómetros rodeando toda la ciudad y que es el límite oficial de París. Así que para la población podemos dar dos cifras: lo que está dentro del periférico, 2.200.000 habitantes, y después con los afueras, lo que forma el grande. Durante ese tour, una parada cerca de la Torre Eiffel, una parada cerca de los Inválidos, para que puedan sacar fotos. Y luego después se regresa al hotel. Entonces tenemos dos idiomas aquí, voy a hablar en inglés también porque claro, tenemos una parte del grupo que son de habla inglesa. So, good afternoon everybody, so I'm the guide, I'm the one who just went up to count if we're missing some people. I'm Christine and we're going to start our tour of the city. We are going to see different monuments, different districts, and we are going to make two stops during that tour, one nearby the Invalides, where you take pictures of the Royal Church, and another one nearby the Eiffel Tower. And then after the tour, when we're finished, then we go back to the hotel.
Wala na. Dati meron yun eh.
Right, so we are at the moment at the foot of the hill of Montmartre, which is on the right-hand side. You've seen it's a very different district from everything else we're going to see from now on, which is more traditional, more like a city. Montmartre is like a village, really, and it has kept the atmosphere of a village ever since it has been actually lived in by all the artists in the end of the 19th century, and it's the Bohemian district of the city. And here where we are, there used to be a fortification which actually delimited the city until 1860. That wall was destroyed by Napoleon III, who decided to enlarge the city, and this is why the village of Montmartre got included into the new limits of Paris. So this is the nightlife district along the boulevard here. Entonces ven, aquí estamos en un boulevard que delimitaba la ciudad. En 1860 destruyeron la fortificación, la muralla, de manera a ampliar París. Eso fue hecho por Napoleón III, él dobló el tamaño de la ciudad, y el pueblo de Montmartre, que es bien diferente del resto de la ciudad, se quedó de repente incluido dentro de la ciudad de París, siendo parte. Pero han visto, ¿no?, como es muy diferente del resto de París, se quedó como pueblo hasta hoy en día, mientras a partir de aquí ya ven, es una ciudad más tradicional, más...
Ya entendemos que desearon se quedar ahí en barrio de los impresionistas. Gracias.
All right, English-speaking people. I will say last thing before we are arriving to our metro station Anvers, our meeting point. This metro station Anvers, where we were getting down, it will be the meeting point at 10 to 3 in order to go for the city tour with our local guide, okay? The bus will be parking just next to it, okay? Now, if there's any of you who misses the timing at 10 to 3 or decides to stay and hang around more time at Montmartre, remember, you will be on your own. That means you will have to go back to the hotel by yourself. And then you will be missing the local guide, the guided tour we're doing this afternoon at 3. Okay? I'm saying this just in case you get lost, you decide to stay more time. For whatever reason, we won't be able to wait for you because the local guide, she is starting punctually at 3. She needs to be with us these couple of hours and then she leaves us, okay? So whoever misses the meeting point, the meeting time, goes by itself back to the hotel. Here we're getting down and we're meeting on your left. You see on your left where it says Metropolitan. We meet at here in the center of this square on our left where it says Metropolitan. It's the entrance to the Metro Anvers.
Señores, no, eso está en el...
Oh my God. Sunday market nila. Ang daming paninda. Wow, grabe. Ang haba nung papunta doon. Parang dito kami banda noon. Malapit kami sa station noon. Yung hotel namin noon. 25 years ago. Nagpunta ko dito sa Paris. Still the same. Nothing changed.
En restaurante que se queda en la Plaza du Tertre, que se llama Cremallera.
Hi there again. Look at your left side. This is a typical market, typical Sunday market where they sell antiques, vintage things, clothes, books, many different things. This is very, very typical of Paris. It's only on Sundays.
De Montmartre, la basílica, sí es una basílica, construida en 1919, inicio del siglo XX. Entonces, llegó ahí, arriba ya está la basílica. Ahí yo voy a estar esperando vosotros para caminar hasta tour por la ciudad de París.
Okay, everybody, look at your left side. Moulin Rouge. Moulin Rouge. This is the very famous Moulin Rouge, the most famous cabaret. I'm sure you all saw the movie Moulin Rouge, right? With Nicole Kidman. So this is this famous place. El Molino Rojo a la izquierda. El Molino Rojo para todos a la izquierda. Lo acabamos de pasar. Okay, we continue. We're very, very close now to Anvers metro station, where we will meet at 10 to 3 when you are back.
Señores, ¿qué horas que tenemos que nos encontrar por la tarde? No saben, Dios mío. 3 buenos días, sí, en la Plaza Anvers. Ahora cuando bajamos del autobús, yo voy a estar con la banderita. Vamos juntos porque yo voy a enseñar dónde es donde está el funicular para subir, porque si no suben el funicular, tienen que tomar las escaleras, ¿sí? Entonces,
City of Paris, we have to give you two figures. One is inside the peripheric, inside the ring road, and you have 2,200,000 inhabitants. But then this is fairly small, the city of Paris, and all the cities that are all around form the greater Paris, and there we have 12 million inhabitants, which is a larger part of the French population, altogether with 65 million about. And the cities that are coming after Paris are Lyon and Marseille. And Lyon and Marseille, the greater city there, have 3 million each.
A bit about this area because, as I told you before, it used to be already from the beginning of last century a very bohemian area where Pablo Picasso, Modigliani, all these famous artists today, well, back then they were young people hanging around in Paris, doing a lot of parties and learning a lot about their art. So Picasso was here, Modigliani, Vincent van Gogh was here also, Henri Matisse, and even Salvador Dali, and many, many other people. I mean, on that time, if you consider yourself an artist, you had to come to Montmartre. It was not a very rich neighborhood at all. It was a very, it has this bohemian atmosphere, and these artists then, they were not famous. They were just young artists who were starting their careers. Also, there were many writers there, not only painters, and many creative people, because nearby the Montmartre area was the famous Moulin Rouge, the red windmill in English would be. It's called Moulin Rouge. It's a very famous cabaret. Today it's very hard to buy tickets from one day to the other, so you have to reserve long time ahead if you want to come, and then you can go inside. It's a cabaret, very famous. We will pass by and I will tell you so you can just have a look at it, at least from the outside. Okay, so this Moulin Rouge is part of Montmartre neighborhood almost. And it used to inspire very much these young artists hanging around at Montmartre. Now, the bus will stop next to a metro station called Anvers. When we get there, we will gather all together as we did at Versailles. We will gather again next to this metro station, take a picture of this station, of the name, because that's the point where we will all meet back at 10 to 3, okay? 10 minutes to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Why? Because at 3 o'clock we are departing again with our local guide. Remember I told you we will have a local guide at 3 o'clock. It's coming. Her name is Christine. I will be there with you, of course. I will be coming with you all the way. We will meet at 10 minutes to 3 exactly, because Christine, the local guide, she needs to start her trip at 3 o'clock, and she'll be about 2 hours together with us. We'll be with the bus going around all the important and beautiful places of Paris. Christine lives here in Paris. She's a local guide, as I said, so she knows many, many stories she'll be sharing with you, okay?
Estamos llegando a Montmartre, ya justo algunos minutos bajamos del autobús. Sé que muchos están durmiendo, pero tenemos que empezar a despertar. Señores, vamos a bajar el autobús justo a una plaza que se llama Anvers. Saquen una foto también de este nombre. Ahí es el punto de encuentro para empezar la panorámica por la tarde. Vamos a hacer una cita ahí mismo en esta plaza a las 3 menos 10. 3 menos 10 tenemos todos que estar ahí de regreso en la plaza Anvers. Desde ahí empieza nuestro City Tour panorámico. ¿Qué quiere decir? Vamos a hacer el autobús mirando a la derecha, a la izquierda, ¿sí? Y una cosa muy importante es que los sitios del autobús, las sillas no están reservadas para nadie, ¿sí? Pero cuando empezamos el día y elegimos una silla para se quedar por todo el día, ahí normalmente respetamos el señor que está al lado, atrás y adelante, y volvemos en las paradas para la misma silla. ¿Por qué? Porque así podemos dejar una chaqueta, podemos dejar algo personal, porque se queda más organizado. Entonces es muy importante que vosotros tomen las mismas sillas cuando vuelvan al bus, ¿sí? Por favor.